Hello and welcome back to Building on a Budget Models. I'm Thomas. Today we're starting the Ferrari SF90 Spider resin kit from BOAB Models. I've sprayed the dashboard here semi-gloss black, and then it's really important with resin kits to make sure to test fit all the parts, as you need to use CA glue, super glue, to fit the parts into place. Here there's a few little vents which are a nice little addition. Means you could do these a different colour if you wanted to, but I chose to do them black as well. It's also important to test fit them, as you may need to sand them down to make sure that they fit properly. Remember, resin can be harmful if the dust particles are inhaled, so use a respirator if sanding them. It's also a good idea to put down a wet kitchen towel, as that will collect any of the dust. You're given a couple of options for the instrument clusters here. I decided to go with this one. There we are. And then there's a few other decals for things like the audio controls and other things to go onto the dashboard. There's a few carbon fibre decals here and there as well. All in all, this is a really nice detailed kit, and here you are, you've got the little SF90 Spider decal to go in the middle. Only comes in left-hand drive. Not actually sure if Ferrari make a right-hand drive version of this car. There's the dashboard, which fits into the top like so. And then you've got the steering column, which fits into place like so. And then there's some carbon fibre decals to go onto the steering wheel, and also the semi-automatic gear shifters. Fit the square in the centre so that the centre can go over the top of that. Here's the carbon fibre decals for the photo etch flappy paddle gear shifters, which go onto the back. Then once all the decals are put onto the steering wheel, you can then put the kind of central section here. It's probably where the airbag would go. There we are, nice bit of contrast. And then you've got a small photo etch circle for the badge, which then the Ferrari prancing horse decal goes onto the top. Pretty happy with that. You then fit the gear shifters just behind. And then those all glue together onto the steering column. I think that looks nice. Now, you're not actually given colour instructions for any of the kit, so it's important to look at examples of the real car, like this one here. There are some large carbon fibre decals which go into the interior of the cockpit. This had already been painted in semi-gloss black. Then I used some UMP strong decal solution to help these adhere as best as possible. Also used a hairdryer to flatten them out, and then rolled this wet cotton bud to remove any stray air bubbles. The door cards have got a few little extra parts like this one here which need to be added. There's some carbon fibre decals which fit really nicely into these slots. Just like the interior decals, I'm using a bit of UMP strong at the end to help them adhere as best as possible. Door handle was done in silver with a satin red centre like so, and then there's an extra decal which goes at the bottom here. There's also some audio controls, or maybe they're window controls, which go on the top. It's a photo etch part. This little section here, which I think is to do with the transmission controls, was done in chrome Molotow pen. Then there's a few other little parts, including this circular section here, which I think might be to go around a cup holder. But that fits into place like so. I'm also using a little CA glue to fit the photo etch. Now then, you've got 4 photo etch rectangles like so, which go together to make the Ferrari key. It will slot into the central console like so. Sort of a small rectangle. It's got some buttons on one side, and then the other side is left for a Ferrari prancing horse decal. It's a nice little feature to include this sort of thing. There's some more photo etch parts which go into the bottom of the footwells. The driver's side pedals are usually made up of 1 or 2 parts. Here I'm giving these a little squeeze together using some blunt tweezers to get the positions right. Some photo etch parts need to be slightly bent before putting in place, so check where they need to go very carefully. Some of the instructions could be a little clearer in this regard. I like the look of these red seat cushions, so I went with that for the final version of the car. Firstly, the seat frame here was done in semi-gloss black, and then you've got carbon fibre decals which go onto the front, the back and around the bottom. Again, UMP decal solution was really useful to adhere these as best as possible. I left these for at least a day to help the decals settle as best as possible. Also used a hairdryer. Then these seat cushions were done in satin red. I test fitted them before using some super glue to fit them into place. There's some decals that go in place, like these yellow stripes. I actually had difficulty with the Ferrari prancing horse decals for the headrest, as they didn't look exactly the right colour. I may print some black ones later to go on, but I'll see if I have the time. And there's the headrest. I think these look pretty good. They've also got holes just underneath the headrest, so you could add 4-point harness to these, should you want to. And they'll fit into place just like so, slotting into the little rectangular holes inside the cockpit. For the engine, also look at as many images as you can to get the colours right. Did most of this in a kind of matte red, semi-gloss black and silver or aluminium. Here I picked out the screw heads on these engine covers, and then it's a really nice feature that they include the wiring cables for the V8 engine. Pretty happy with that. I should say I'd also painted all of the moulded engine detail in aluminium already. This here is done in semi-gloss black. And then for these engine covers here, you need to add the chrome Ferrari stickers. To get these in exactly the right position, and then I pushed them down as firmly as I could with my finger before carefully peeling off the backing tape. Pretty happy with that. Central section here is done in black. It's really nice that this is separate, as it means it doesn't require any masking. And then that slots into the top of the engine like so. You've got some photo etch pieces to go together. I think it's on top of the oil filler cap. That goes on top of this. This is carbon fibre on the real engine, so I've done it in gloss black instead of satin. There's a small little Ferrari plate that goes underneath that. There is a decal for this as well, but I preferred how it looked with the little photo etch instead, so I left the decal off. To add detail to this piping, I cut out some thin strips of aluminium plumber's tape and wound it round some of the joins. There we are. Did that a couple more times before then adding the part to the engine bay. You'll see some of these things through the window at the back, so it's nice to add a little detail that will be seen at the end. Central console fits in like so. And then I picked out some detail on this transmission control thing with some black panel liner. There's a little test fit with the seats. And then I added the seatbelt sockets, which just glue to either side of the armrest, no particular position. I'll add the seatbelts later. It's now time to add the little key fob thing to the armrest in the middle. You can see the Ferrari badge on this side, and that just goes in here just behind the transmission control. And there we have it. I'm pretty happy with how this has all gone together. I like that there's a visible engine on this, as not all Alpha model kits have those, and some nice carbon fibre decals that's picked out some detail in the kit. Thanks a lot for watching. Let me know what you think. Hit the bell icon and the subscribe button to stay notified for the next part. Thanks a lot. I'll see you soon.